All right, my beautiful fiery Aries souls, come close now. Find a quiet space just for a moment and let the world outside fade away. Welcome back to Astrology Unlocked. I'm your guide, and today we are embarking on a journey together, a journey into the very heart of who you are. The message the universe has for you today, it's a profound one. It's like a key, divinely crafted and placed into your hands, designed to unlock a room within your own soul that you may have kept sealed for a very, very long time. It's a space that holds truths about your family, about your upbringing, and about the sacred wounds you thought had long since faded into scars. This is a truth that will illuminate the shadows, and once you see it, my dear friend, your perception of your own story may be forever transformed. I have a feeling you were guided to this message today because that beautiful, restless heart of yours has always known. You've always sensed that there was something more beneath the surface, haven't you? That feeling of being a brilliant, blazing fire in a room that always seemed to prefer the soft glow of a single candle. You've felt the unspoken words, the conversations that would halt the moment your vibrant energy entered the space, the glances that held entire volumes of meaning you couldn't quite translate. You've always felt it. If this feeling resonates with you, if that quiet whisper of intuition is stirring within you right now, let me know in the comments below by simply writing, "I am ready to see." And if you haven't already joined our beautiful community of souls on this journey of discovery, please take this moment to press that subscribe button. We are all in this together, and I want to make sure you never miss the cosmic guidance that is meant just for you. Your incredible Aries intuition, that pioneering instinct that guides you, has never led you astray. It has always whispered to you that the family dynamics you grew up in were far more complex than they appeared. It hinted at hidden layers, at emotional currents, flowing deep beneath the calm surface of everyday life. But perhaps, in your beautiful strength, you chose not to dive too deep. You chose not to ask the questions that felt too sharp, too piercing, because a part of your soul, the part that seeks to protect, knew that the answers might carry a sting. And yes, my dear, they do. The truth often does, but it is also the only thing that can truly set you free. The truth is, you have spent so much of your precious energy crafting a more comfortable narrative about your past. It's a beautiful story, one where everyone was simply doing their best, where painful moments were just simple misunderstandings, where love was the unspoken foundation, even when its warmth felt distant or conditional. It's a story born of your generous Aries heart. But the deeper, more complex truth that the cosmos is inviting you to witness today, my brave Aries, is that you were nurtured within an emotional ecosystem that was not designed to handle the sheer brilliance of your authentic light. Now, before that fiery spirit of yours rises in defense, please hear my heart on this. This is not about blame. This is not about painting your family as villains or seeing them as bad people. Oh no, this is so much bigger, so much more profound than that. This is about understanding the energetics of the environment you grew up in. It's about recognizing that you were raised within dynamics that perhaps unknowingly taught you to dim your own magnificent flame. They taught you to carry responsibilities that were never yours to begin with, to feel a sense of guilt for your powerful emotions, and to believe that your very essence, that brilliant, pioneering, truth-seeking spirit, was somehow too much. From such a tender age, you learned a painful lesson. You learned that your incredible passion, your emotional intensity, could make the adults around you uncomfortable. Your innate need for honesty, for directness, for cutting through the pretense, was more than the existing system could handle. You were likely told, in ways both subtle and direct, that you should be a little quieter, a little less demanding, a little more easy. And so what did you do in your incredible adaptive strength? You began to hide parts of yourself. You started to bury your most radiant truths in order to be loved, to be accepted, to keep the peace. You began to carry the weight of family secrets, the burden of unspoken tensions, as if they were your own personal failings. Can you feel that deep within you? Can you remember that first moment when you realized that being your full, unfiltered, glorious Aries self was not entirely safe in your own home? The truth that you may not have wanted to hear is that someone in your family, perhaps with no ill intention, taught you that you were responsible for how others felt. They instilled in you the belief that your authentic expression, your fiery passion, your raw honesty, your very presence could cause discomfort or pain to the people you loved most. And you, my beautiful loyal Aries, being the natural leader and protector that you are, made a choice. You chose to make yourself smaller to protect them. You chose to carry the emotional weight of the entire family on your strong shoulders, all in the name of maintaining a fragile peace. But let's be honest with each other now in this sacred space. That peace was never truly real, was it? It was a beautifully constructed illusion, a calm surface over a turbulent ocean. And you, with your keen intuition, always sensed the powerful undertow just beneath. You always knew there were truths being silenced, problems being ignored, and emotions being suppressed until they festered into something that felt heavy and unspoken in the very air you breathed. For my beautiful Aries souls, born between March 21st and March 31st, this truth often reveals itself through the profound realization that you were forced into the role of a leader far too soon. You became the emotional warrior of the family. You were handed emotional responsibilities a child should never have to bear. You became the confidant for adult anxieties, the mediator in conflicts that were not yours, to solve the emotional bedrock for parents who should have been providing that stability for you. You learned to be the strong one, the brave one, before you ever had the chance to simply be a child. For my dear Aries, born between April 1st and April 10th, this painful truth is often connected to family secrets that cast a long shadow over your life, shaping your reality without your conscious knowledge. There was information that was kept from you, edited chapters of your own origin story, half-truths about relatives and relationships. You've always felt like a brilliant detective, with missing clues to the puzzle of your own identity. Your radiant sun-ruled energy craves light and truth, and you've always sensed there were rooms kept intentionally dark. And for my magnificent Aries, born between April 11th and April 20th, the cosmic revelation is about how you were unconsciously programmed to repeat impulsive, often self-sabotaging patterns that have been woven into your family line for generations. Certain beliefs, behaviors, and ways of relating to the world were passed down to you like a kind of emotional inheritance. You took on the family's way of charging into situations, of fighting certain battles, even when these patterns brought you pain, because it was the only way you knew the most profound truth about your family, the one that you need to hear with every fiber of your being, is this: you cannot save them. It is not your mission to heal them. It is not your destiny to carry their emotional pain as if it were your own. And you are not, nor have you ever been responsible for holding together relationships that are fundamentally fractured by their own design. This, my dear Aries, is perhaps the most difficult truth for you to embrace. Your love is so active, so fierce, so loyal that you would willingly charge into any fire to protect those you care about. But here is another truth, one that may ache a little as it lands. Some people in your family may never be ready for the kind of authenticity, the level of raw, honest emotional depth that you naturally offer. They may prefer the comfort of their masks, the safety of avoiding difficult conversations, and the illusion that deep-seated issues simply do not exist. And that is not their fault, but a reflection of their own journey. But it is also not your responsibility to force them into an awakening they are not ready for. You have spent years of your life trying to be the catalyst for healing in your family. You tried to be strong enough to carry everyone's burdens, wise enough to solve generations of conflict, and patient enough to wait for everyone else to be ready for the truth that you could see so clearly. But in that noble, heroic process, you began to lose pieces of yourself. You became so focused on being the hero, the leader, the fixer your family seemed to need that you forgot to discover who you are when you're not fulfilling that role. The truth about your family is that you are allowed to feel anger. Oh yes, let's talk about that sacred anger. It is a righteous fire. You are allowed to feel anger for being made to grow up too fast. Anger for carrying burdens that were never yours. Anger for being taught to dim your brilliant light so as not to outshine others. Anger for being misunderstood or even punished when you expressed your genuine powerful emotions. Anger for being made to feel as if your intensity, your very life force, was a character flaw rather than your most divine gift. And you are also allowed to feel a deep, profound sadness. Sadness for the child you were, the little warrior who deserved to be protected instead of always being the protector. Sadness for the years you spent trying to earn a love that should have been given unconditionally. Sadness for the parts of yourself you have buried so deep that you sometimes forget they even exist. When was the last time, my beautiful friend, that you truly allowed yourself to feel these emotions without judging yourself for them, without rushing to fix them or turn them into action? My dear Aries, there is a vast difference between family loyalty and emotional imprisonment. And for too long, you have been living in a state of emotional confinement, believing it was the highest form of love. But true, expansive, soul-level love does not demand that you be less than who you are. It does not ask you to hide your truth. It doesn't make you feel guilty for outgrowing the limited definitions your family had for you. The truth you didn't want to hear is that perhaps you never received the kind of love your fiery soul was designed for. Perhaps you received a conditional love, a love with expectations, a love that came at the high price of not being your true, authentic self. And this created a deep wound within you, an unconscious belief that you must constantly be achieving, fighting, or fixing something to be worthy of love. But here is an even deeper, more liberating truth that the universe is whispering to you now. You do not need your family's approval to be who you are destined to be. You do not need their permission to heal your own heart. You do not need them to understand your evolution for it to be valid and real. Your family gave you the spark of life. They gave you your origins, your starting point, but they are not your destiny. They do not define the limits of your fire. They do not determine how high you can leap or how brightly you can shine. And sometimes, the greatest act of love you can offer your entire lineage is to free yourself from the toxic patterns they passed down to you, breaking the chains of suffering instead of unconsciously passing them on. The truth about your family is that some of the survival mechanisms you learned from them are now actively sabotaging your adult life. That tendency to take charge and shoulder everyone else's responsibilities, it shows up in your life now. That habit of hiding your own emotional needs to take care of everyone around you, it's there. The deep-seated belief that you need to be a hero to deserve love, it's a recurring theme. The conviction that your powerful feelings are a burden to those you love, it's a quiet poison. You have likely replicated these very same dynamics in your adult relationships. You've chosen partners who needed to be rescued, who needed your fire to feel alive. You've built friendships where you are always the strong one, the emotional leader, the one everyone turns to for energy and direction. You have masterfully constructed a life where you are indispensable to others, but where your own needs for rest, for support, for vulnerability are rarely, if ever, met. And this happened, beautiful soul, because you were taught to confuse being needed with being loved. Your family also may have taught you that your emotional intensity was something to be tamed, that your deep feelings were melodramatic, that your need for authenticity was inconvenient, that your incredible ability to see right through people's masks was threatening to them. And you internalize these judgments, beginning to view yourself through the same limited lens your family used. But here is the truth that will set your spirit free. Your intensity is not a flaw. It is your superpower. Your ability to feel so deeply is not drama. It is a higher form of emotional intelligence. Your capacity to see through all the pretense is not a problem. It is a divine gift that allows you to connect with life on a level of truth that most people never even experience. Your family may have made you feel like you were too much simply because they were not equipped to handle the magnificence of the truth you carried in your very being. So instead of expanding to create space for your light, they asked you to shrink to fit into the small boxes they had designated for love. The truth about your family that you so deeply need to hear is that you can love them and still protect your own sacred energy. You can have deep compassion for their story and their struggles and still refuse to accept toxic or draining behavior. You can honor where you came from and still choose to forge a completely different path. You can recognize that they did the best they could with the awareness they had and still decide that it was not enough for the needs of your beautiful, fiery soul. Breaking these family patterns is not an act of betrayal. It is an act of evolution. It is an act of immense courage. It is love in its purest, most evolved form, because you are consciously choosing to break cycles of pain instead of passing them on. You are choosing to heal generational wounds instead of allowing them to infect the future. And yes, your family may not understand this choice. They may see your growth as a rejection of them. They may try to pull you back into old dynamics with guilt or emotional manipulation because it's more comfortable for them to have you in your old, familiar role. But you are not responsible for their emotional comfort as you grow. You do not owe your life force to preserving family dynamics that harm your spirit. You do not have to remain small to make others feel big. And you absolutely do not have to carry guilt for choosing your own healing over the maintenance of a broken system. The healing of your family members is not your responsibility. Their happiness is not your responsibility. Your only sacred responsibility is to your own healing, your own happiness, and your own emotional well-being. And as you tend to your own inner fire, you become a living, breathing beacon of light, showing everyone around you that it is possible to break free and choose a different way. Some of them may never acknowledge the incredible inner work you've done. They may never appreciate the courage it took to face these hard truths. But that does not matter. Your worth is not dependent on their recognition. Your healing does not require their validation. Your evolution does not need their approval. You are doing this sacred work for yourself and for all the future generations who will benefit from the chains you have so bravely chosen to break. The truth about your family that you needed to hear is that you now have cosmic permission to set sacred boundaries. Permission to say no. Permission to protect your energy. Permission to choose which family events and dynamics you participate in and which you lovingly release. You even have permission to love from a distance when loving up close becomes toxic to your soul. You also have permission to create a new definition of family, a chosen family, a soul tribe made up of people who see your fire and are not afraid of its heat. People who celebrate your intensity, who honor your truth, and who don't ask you to be anyone other than who you are. And finally, you are allowed to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for taking so long to see these truths. Forgive yourself for getting stuck in familiar patterns. Forgive yourself for carrying guilt that was never yours. Forgive yourself for trying to rescue people who could only ever save themselves. You did the best you could with the consciousness you had at the time. The ultimate truth, my dear Aries, is this. You can honor your heritage without being imprisoned by it. You can be grateful for the life you were given without accepting everything that came with it. You can love your family with all your heart and still choose to fiercely protect your own. Your family history is not your destiny, it is your launch pad. What you build from here, where you direct your incredible energy, is entirely up to you. Some of your family relationships will be beautifully transformed when you begin to establish these healthy, loving boundaries. Others may crumble because they were only sustained by your willingness to play a role that no longer fits. But every single one of these changes is necessary for you to step into your most authentic, empowered self. You deserve relationships that honor the magnificent being you truly are. You deserve a love that doesn't come with conditions. You deserve connections that fuel your fire, not drain your energy. The most liberating discovery you will ever make is that when you stop trying to be the hero for everyone else, you finally become the hero of your own story. When you stop carrying responsibilities that are not yours, you create space for your own dreams to flourish. Aries, the truth about your family that you didn't want to hear but so deeply needed to, is that you were always stronger, wiser, and more magnificent than they ever led you to believe. You have always had everything you need within you to heal, to protect yourself, and to create the brilliant life you deserve. It is time to stop watering the seeds of doubt they may have planted and start nurturing the seeds of truth about the incredible, powerful, and worthy soul that you are. Are you ready to finally free yourself from the emotional chains your family may have unwittingly placed upon you? If this message has resonated in the deepest corners of your heart, if you felt that powerful mixture of pain and relief that comes with finally seeing a truth you've always known, then you are ready. Share in the comments anonymously if you wish. Which truth about your family was the hardest for you to hear and accept? Your courage will create a ripple effect, inspiring other Aries souls to begin their own work of healing and self-recognition. The truth has now been illuminated. The wounds have been brought into the light. And now, my beautiful friend, the true healing begins. And I promise you The version of you that emerges on the other side of this transformation will be more compassionate, more powerful, more loving, and more unapologetically true to yourself than ever before. The family you create from this day forward, whether biological or chosen, will be built on the sacred principles of truth, authenticity, and unconditional love. And that, my dear Aries, is the most powerful gift you can ever give to yourself and to the world. Thank you for sharing this sacred space with me today. Remember to subscribe for more guidance on your beautiful journey. The universe is on your side, and your most magnificent chapter is just beginning. Shine brightly.